welcome. It's another week here with the Focus TV. Got Octavia Wyatt, we got Cardell Dudley, Wilson Tarpe Jr. We apologize. Get started a little bit late today, but we ready to go, man. We got a lot to discuss. First, we're gonna talk about show some love to the Mystics. WNBA season has begun. We told you guys already. They are off to their first 4-0 franchise start. And their fourth win, which they got this past weekend, they definitely earned. They beat the reigning WNBA champion, the Minnesota Lynx. Keep in mind, Elena Deladon, she was suffering from dehydration, so she only played 13 minutes. They found themselves in an 18-point hole very fast, and they dug themselves out of it. So it was definitely a high-character win. And just a great example of, it's kind of why this team's a little bit different than last year's team, and one of the biggest reasons is the bench, and especially the youngsters. We've seen Ariel Atkins, and you've heard us talk about Ariel Atkins. You've heard us talk about Maisha Hines-Allen quite a bit already. And Cardell, you didn't get a chance to be there, but I know you were watching and following along. Just tell everybody why we were so high, why we were so excited to see these two young ladies, and then just what the bench has done so far for this team this year thus far.
Because both rookies are fearless. They're not your typical rookies. They're not coming in trying to fit in. They're not coming in, trying to get their feet wet, trying to, pace themselves to learn. They jumping right in. They feel they belong, and they're showing it. They battle, they compete, and without those two, they're not undefeated. It's as simple as that. It's been like that from day one. Diving on the floor when the starters were kind of flat. They came off the bench and picked up the slack defensively, and that's what I like about them. They lead defensively first. I saw what Sylvia Fowles did in the first quarter. Then, Maisha, she came right in, threw her body around, and she didn't let her do all that. She was like, "We gonna fight. If you gonna drop 30 on me, it's gonna be a hard 30."
Right.
And it's contagious when you see two of the younger players playing like that as vets. You got to give it the program, especially with a coach like Thibault. He won't hesitate to pull the trigger and keep the youngest in and sit you down. So it was an impressive win, especially with Deladon going out with illness. I'm not sure. I read it. When she got her first quarter.
Yeah.
So she went out first quarter and then
like early second tops. Like we didn't see her very long at all. So it's 10-minute quarters. So she played maybe 3 minutes of the second quarter, and then that was it.
Okay, and it's just it's a staple of them, but it's not just them; it's the all-around impact of the team. I actually did some digging before the show, and I see right now currently they're third in the WNBA in scoring. 85 points a game, but it's efficient. They're shooting 45% from the field, 80% from the line, 37% from three, but they're also number one in the WNBA in defense. They're only allowing 76 points a game. That's what's I said that in the first game, and I tweeted that out, and I said. They kind of remind the way they swarm is kind of like the Bulls doing their first three-peat, how they used to swarm. And ironically, Thibault got roots. That's his foundation, those early Bulls teams. So I think he finally got the pieces to kind of swarm like that. As long as they defend, they're going to always be in the game. They got a big test tonight. They're facing the Seattle Storm. They had the top two leading scorers in the WNBA period, Jewel and Breanna Stewart. Breanna Stewart's also third in rebounding, she's averaging 10, a little over 10. So, they're gonna get a nice little test. The thing about, their 4-0 start, they defend at home.
Yeah.
So I want to see what they do on the road, especially the rookies. This is gonna kind of be their first time going on a long road trip, and if they kind of weather the storm with this, I'll be like, all right, yeah, they way ahead. So but the way they started, they kind of on that, what we kind of seen out of Donovan Mitchell and Jason Tatum on the men's side, where they just, they outperforming what a rookie should do. So, props to them.
Yeah, as you mentioned, some of the special rookies on the men's side, it was a pretty talented class on their side. Dare I say the women's side, it's deep. The impact this class has made in just 4 or 5 games has been ridiculous. Then especially with the Mystics, I can't really. There's nothing left for me to say after what you said about those two. But the thing that stands out to me, at least talking to them after the game, the moment's not too big for them. Like it's clear that it's just basketball. They expect this from themselves. All you hear from both of them is team. neither one of them are worried about what they're doing individually in the least bit, and that's kind of what's the most impressive to me, is that they bought in, and that second unit had 58 points in that game.
Yeah.
That's
insane for a bench. That's crazy for a bench.
Like so through the 4 games we've seen, so far, their bench has played a monumental role in their success thus far. And one of the things you said with Sabolt that I definitely want to, that stood out to me is that he goes with who's playing, like who's playing well. It doesn't matter, whatever the starting 5 is the starting 5. There's been a different assortment of players to close out games so far. The players who, we saw several of the second unit players close out games because they put the work in to change the tide. And then the trust you're instilling in not only the second unit, but the rookies, period. And I like the minute distribution too.
Right.
It's literally all hands in. Go ahead.
And the balance, man. It's hard for teams to focus on certain players because they have 8 players averaging between 6 and 16 points a game. And Deladon hasn't even gotten old. Like, she's not playing up to her standard.
Yeah.
And they're still winning. That's what's scary. Taylor Hill, I heard she's still planning to try to come back at the end of the season. LaToya hasn't even played. They have the makings of it being a special team. Back to the rookies, I'm looking at Atkins. She's shooting 45% from 3.
Man.
Leading the team. And Hines Allen, she leads the WNBA in field goal percentage at 72%. So when she gets the ball, she's finishing. When she shoots, she's knocking it down. They're not playing games. And they had some heavy tests. The number 1 pick, Aja Wilson. They had to deal with her. And she's a problem, too. She's part of that special rookie class, yeah. They had to deal with, not a Goomke, but girl from Ohio State. You know what I'm talking about.
Kelsey Mitchell twice.
Kelsey Mitchell, yeah.
The fever
had to
twice
deal with her.
Yeah.
She's special. So they went up against some heavy hitters early, and they responded. So, but like I said, they were at home. We're going to see what they do on the road.
So they got a tough test tonight, as you say, with the Storm. Tomorrow they take on the Mercury. Literally a couple days after that, they come back to the East Coast. They take on the Connecticut Sun, which is some people's pick. John Quayle, Chene, Brianna Jones is up there. There's a lot of talent up in Connecticut. Alex Bentley, they're loaded. That's a team that people picked last year, and people feel a lot strongly in. Again, they beat the Sparks last week, so that's going to be a tough test. And then they come home for a couple tough games. So then lastly, before we get off this, I love how Coach Sabolt said, like, these 4 games are in the bank. It's a compressed season. All wins matter. Doesn't matter how you get them. Style points are irrelevant. Those 4 in the bank, and you can't take them away from us, which is something that just really stuck out to me from him. But we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, you spent your weekend down taking in some EYBL, and I can't wait to see who made your list of people that stood out. You're watching the Focus TV, and we'll be right back. All right, folks, welcome back. As promised, we got Cardell Dudley. Spent the weekend down in Southern VA, taking in the best high school league in the country.
Yeah, it was the 4th session of the Nike EYBL circuit, which is the best circuit out there. No disrespect to nobody, but it is. But before I get started, I want to send a shout out to, for people that don't know, had a death down there from a local kid. James Hampton used to play at HD Wilson. Was playing for Team United. Unfortunately, as he was playing, he collapsed. Didn't make it. So shook up the whole weekend, and kind of after Saturday night, it wasn't the same. The whole vibe, everybody played, but, it wasn't like the same excitement because it was just so shocking and whatnot. You probably seen it with a lot of high school youngins, AAU youngins, shown, even it got to the NBA because with Scottie Pippen, Jamal Crawford, I saw Kenyon Martin, Jermaine O'Neal, all those guys were down there. They coach they got kids that play on the circuit, and that's just something that you don't want to see. I know I got a lot of messages, when I was in a hotel, but I was trying to rest, so I didn't pay attention until I got up the next morning and to get back in the gym early. So that's when I responded. But no, I didn't see it. A lot of people like, did you see it? I was like, no, I left. I saw the ambulance coming. I thought it was just a regular player getting hurt.
Right.
So honestly, I'm glad I didn't see it. That's not something you want to see. I hope it's not any video out there. There's a lot of videographers. I hope it's nobody out there putting that up for views because no one wants to relive their loved one passing away over and over again. That's it. But he was a talented player. He was on his way. And, you know, just to have that happen. Then I read an article, his father said a lot of people asking, well, was there something wrong with him? His father like, he passed out before, but he got tested. Doctor said nothing was wrong with him. So, you know, that makes it even more just like, man, oh man, what's really going on? Right. So we gonna see, man. But getting back to the basketball side of things, I'm gonna start locally. You know, for the guy, you know, let's be real. I mean, Takeover, what they doing is, I mean,
saying they continued from what the last time we were talking about.
They finished the regular season undefeated, 16-0. They destroyed everybody. You know, it's just a matter if they're gonna get the championship, which is Peach Jam. You know, I see why they're undefeated. They're kind of similar to the Mystics. They lead with their defense, and they have a lot of depth. And the thing about normally, a lot of these teams have depth, but they don't always play together. You can see it in different teams. I'm trying to get mine. You got your offer. It's none of that. They playing together. I think the leading scorer averaged 12 points a game. You see what I'm saying?
I saw a tweet about that whole team, talking about one of their victories this weekend, talking about that whole group. No one had more than 12 in a game where they blew somebody out.
Yeah, I mean, and then when they come off the bench, it's guys that know their role. They come in and they fit in perfectly. For me, you know, it all starts with Hunter Dickinson. I mentioned him on the show before, 7-footer, plays at DeMatha. He's just a terror in the post and high post because of his skill set, IQ. He could pass. He could shoot the mid range. He could shoot the 3 too, but that's not his bread and butter right now. But the fact with his size and his skill set, and he's tough. He's not overly athletic, but he's tough. He's going to bang with you. That's why I say kind of right now he reminds me of Brad Miller unless his body catches up. Brad Miller used to play with the Pacers. Yes. Unless his body catches up and he gets more athletic, then he could become something else. But right now with how he plays, he don't need much because he outsmarts the more athletic bigs and stuff like that. The high-low game I saw with him or Armando Bacot, who's another high prospect from Richmond area, is unstoppable, man. No team have an answer. Like, they really feed off each other. And if you try to double them, one of them, and they kicked out to the guards, and they guard all of their guards are lethal. I mean, I'm serious. Like, high major, it's no question. And that's why they just destroying teams, and it's really just child's play. But he's been special. I've talked about him since the 8th grade. You know, this guy's the limit, man. It's just a matter. I mean, if I'm an opponent, I'm glad he don't have that, you know, otherworldly athleticism, because then we be talking like one and done, #1 pick type stuff. You know, so he's special. Another kid that, you know, plays for Takeover, EJ Jarvis. He may not get as much pub as the other guys, but he comes off the bench, and he's kind of like, you know, he's a bouncy athlete. He's the defender, you know. Whereas Hunter, he's a defender, but he more claws up the lane because he's so big. No, this guy's go for shots. He's gonna block your shots. He's gonna rebound. He's gonna run the floor, finish, catch lobs. I mean, he only averaging 4 points, but he's shooting 51% from the field. So when he catches it, he's finishing. And averaging nearly 4 rebounds. Like I said, on this team, it's not going to be otherworldly stats, you know, because it's a balanced attack. And that's Stevens' way. Hey, he gets it done. You know, a lot of people don't. You know, some players don't like it because they want to do them. But I know it gets W's more oftentimes than not. I like what he brought when he came to the bench. You know, 7 for Dickinson and Bacot. He came right in defensively, changed the whole direction of the game, blocking shots. Guards were scared to drive on him because of him, and they started their transition. They were able to finish. Another kid from up this way played for Boo Williams, Gibson Jimerson. You know, 6'6" guard. He's a senior. He averaged 8.7 points, but he's a sniper, man. He's shooting 47% from the field, 85% from the line, 44% from 3. And, I mean, he just torches people. One game that especially impressed me was when he went up against Houston Hoops, and their star guard Tyrese Maxey, who's committed to Kentucky. And he went off. He shot 50% from 3, had 15 points. I mean, it got to the point where the Houston crowd was yelling at, you know, Houston coaches like, yo, that is the shooter. Do not leave him, man. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, because, you know, Boo Williams, yo, you park out there. The guards at Boogie, you know, dribble, get past their defender, drive, and they kept leaving him. They kept leaving him. He was laughing at it, but, you know, he's kind of new to the circuit because last year he played with the Blue Devils. So they are not familiar with him on the Nike circuit. But I think he woke people up with his performance. He's a sniper, man. But the thing I like about him, he's similar to Chris Miller, where he's not just a shooter. He's a crafty scorer. So he know how to get in the lane, runners, floaters from all over, know how to post up, know how to move without the ball. know how to, delay reactions. I might set the screen, but I'm really slipping to get the ball. And, kids at that level, even though they're talented, they're not on that. He scores like a pro. And that's why, he always has the advantage. James Lee, another kid that was a former Blue Devil player last year, playing with Team Mello. Team Mello's not having the best season. I think they got about 2 wins, man. It's just one of those rough seasons. But he actually tried this weekend to try to right the ship. He averaging 12 points, 5.6 rebounds, and 1.5 steals. But he was relentless, man. Like, I know one game they were down by 15, and he brought them back by himself late in the fourth. And, just relentlessly attacking the rim. The thing that's holding him back is a jumper. And if he, especially from three-point range, if he gets that consistent, the sky's the limit, because he's an otherworldly athlete. He can strap up 94 feet. He's big. He has all the other tools. He just got to get his jumper right. Another takeover guard, Justin Moore. I mean, sue me. Hey, they get it done, man. They deserve all the praise in the world. 6'4" guard, plays for DeMatha. He's probably their best all-around player, especially at guard. Averaging 11.9 points. I think he's second on the team, shooting 50% from the field and 36% from three. Averaging 4.4 rebounds and 2.3 assists. Whenever takeover did look like they was getting in trouble, he got the ball poised, slowed it down, got him a good shot, or he took the shot and knocked it down. And defensively, he gets involved, man. Whenever they needed to stop, he had no problem putting his body on the line. Or if a player got going, I got him. He'd slow him down. And those are the little things that make takeover who they are right now. The guys stepping up and just doing the little things where other people wouldn't do. They're just looking for the flashing style points. But he's special, man. He got all the poise in the world. He's being taught well, obviously, at DeMatha. So, the sky's the limit for him. I think he's committed to Villanova, if I'm not mistaken. So, Jay Wright always get those type of players. So, what's coming. Casey Moselle, he's Takeover's go-to scorer. He's simply put, he's a bucket. He can score from all 3 levels. He's strong, he's athletic, but he's efficient. It's not like he's just jacking and not, the ball not going in. He's averaging 12 points, which leads the team, but it's on 50% from the field, shooting from the field, 80% from the line, 44% from 3. And he has no hesitation. His trigger is quick. If he get in these spaces, it's out. And, he had one of the best performances all weekend against the Las Vegas Prospects. 22 points on 8 of 10 shooting, 6 or 7 from deep. Yeah, so committed to Virginia. So, yeah.
UVA?
Yeah, so another takeover guard. That's why they hard to beat. And Cameron Thomas, I didn't know much about him before, this weekend plays for Boo Williams, 6'3" guard, a junior. But, he impressed me. He has a lot of craftiness. I see a less athletic Monte Ellis. Okay. He's a mid-range shooter, definitely can finish it, going to the paint. He got improved 3-point wise, but when he has it going from there, you can't guard him. He averaging 19.8 points. Like I said, he needs to become more efficient. He's shooting 40% from the field, 90% from the free throw line, which tells you what his goal is, to go to the rack and get fouled, and he makes you pay that way. And 30% from 3, and then grabbing almost 3 boards a game. So he had one of the better performances as well. He had 31 points on 15-25 shooting, against Nike Team Florida. So, he's special. They kind of 500 too. They trying to figure their way, but if they get on the run, maybe they can do some damage at Peach Jam as well. And as for the national standouts, Cole Anthony, that's Greg Anthony's son, from, if people don't know. Probably the best point guard in the country. He has my vote after what I just saw this weekend.
I was just gonna ask, is he a guard like Pops or not? But
he has more talent than Pops. Okay. Pop taught him well, but he's taking it a little further. Right. Layup lines, I see him doing 360 windmills and stuff like that. Pops ain't never dreamed of doing that. Never even dreamed of doing that. I was like, who? Yeah, so he leads the EYBL in scoring, 26.9 points. Yikes. On 44% shooting from the field, 89% from the line, 38% from 3-point range. He's averaging 7.6 rebounds.
He's a point guard?
6'3" point guard.
Okay, go ahead.
And 3.5 assists a game. Yeah, he's a pro.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure I heard it.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, he's a pro. Over the weekend, during the half sessions only, he had 3 games of 31 points or more, including a session high 38-point performance in the win over team final, which features another point guard whose father your name might be familiar with, Lynn Greer, who used to play at Temple. Yeah, he tore that young boy up, man. It is what it is, man. So I mean, he has it all, man. He has all the. He's big. He's a big guard, athletic, skill, IQ. Man, you know, obviously having that NBA pedigree, you know, has came in handy because he's light years ahead of where everybody else is. So, to me, he's the best point guard in the country. Period. Another kid, Scotty Barnes. He has the perfect name. He plays just like Scottie Pippen, 6'8" kid. He plays for Nike Team Florida, 6'8". He's a junior. He's 6'8", 200 pounds. You know, averaging 15 points on 54% shooting from the field, 65% from the line, and 46% shooting from three. Adding 8.1 rebounds and 4.6 assists. He's a point forward. That's why I say he plays a lot like Scottie Pippen. He has that athleticism and size, but he was the best pass on the team. Like I remember one play he came down, and they have another highly touted big who's the second best player in the country, second ranked player by ESPN, Vernon Carey.
Right.
And almost full court, he got the rebound, and he threw a bounce pass through the entire defense, one bounce, and it got right to Carey, and all Carey had to do was dunk it. He's a gifted passer, man. Man. And when I say he's athletic, he drove on this guy, and the ref called a whistle, but he ain't stopped, and he did a one-hand windmill off of one dribble, just driving from the three-point line. That's how sick he is. And like I said, I never heard of him. That's why I love going to these events, man. You know, but homie special, and he'll let you know about it. He's not as quiet as Pippen is. He got that Gary Payton mouth. And there's a lot of times he let people know, like, yo, you a little fella, you cannot guard me, man. Like, so he got that straight dog, man. He a killer, and I love that about him. So you'll be hearing about him, you know, soon. I talked about the Kentucky kid, Tyrese Maxey, very explosive scorer. He's similar, whereas De'Aaron Fox was more of a, I guess you could say, scorer coming out. He's more of both. He's a blend of both. He can score and facilitate. He didn't shoot the best this weekend, but he's still averaging almost 22 points a game on 47% shooting from the field, 82% from the line, 33% from three, 5.1 rebounds and 4.8 assists and 2.7 steals a game. That's why he's going to Kentucky. He's kind of similar to De'Aaron Fox. He's a little bit smaller, but he's dumb athletic. Against Boo Williams, he caught somebody slipping, you know, almost jammed on him left-handed, but he was above the square. And he took a hard foul while trying to do it. You know, Kentucky always get those dudes, but he didn't have the best shooting weekend. But what he did was when his team needed him down the stretch, he willed them to wins, man. And, you know, I was impressed by that. And another kid to look out for out of Carolina, Wendell Moore, he plays for Team CP3, Chris Paul's AAU team, 6'5", 210. He's built like PJ Tucker, but he got D-Wade athleticism.
That's not cool.
Yeah,
right. I'm like, wait.
Yeah. He's built like PJ Tucker,
dude.
but he got D-Wade, like he's bouncy like that, and he has a 7-foot wingspan at the guard. So he leads all guards in the EYBL circuit in blocks. He's averaging 17.5 points on 53% shooting from the field, 85% shooting from the line, 6.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, with 1.8 steals a game, man. His best game this weekend was against the Macaron Fire. He had 23 points with 7-12 shooting, perfect from the line, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocks. And, you know, of course, they won. He has offers from UNC, NC State, and Syracuse. So, I mean, I always tell people in this area, if you really want to see the next wave, always make your way down in the EYBL.
Right.
Because 90% of the kids that play in it end up in the NBA. It's that talented, it's that loaded. A lot of guys that are not in there, that coach or play, take offense to that, but it's the truth. You just look at the facts. You see some freaks out there. I mean, and the wave that's coming, it seems like every year they get more and more athletic. Like I seen 2 kids down there off the vertical jump and dunk and put their arm in the rim. When I say off the vertical, no steps. You know what I'm saying? Just jump, put their arm in the rim. Vince Carter had to take a couple steps.
That's
and they were just
in the
playing
water.
around. So that's what's out there.
It's something in the water. I don't know what it is.
You know what I'm saying? So, hey, it is what it is. But that's all I have for the Nike EYBL. We're going to jump right into breakdown from Jamal Hayward, 9-4-50. And he's going to break down the Euro step.
The correct way, people. Pay attention.
The correct way.
That's so interesting to
Pay
see that the day
attention.
after. But we'll leave that alone. See you guys on the other side. Focus TV.
So that's the correct way to do your step. Second point is maneuver the ball. Okay? So watch. We're gonna do it full speed. Or left hand finish. Okay? Either one. Alright? Same thing for the other side. I'm attacking. step. You have a defender in front of you, you have to step around it, but you also have to sell it. So you sell your first move here, second move here, okay? Same thing on the other way. Sell it, okay? Got it?
All right, folks, welcome back. And again, shout out to Jamal Hayward from 9450. We enjoy these segments every week. Shout out to our guy, Travis Ellison. He takes pictures for us. I talk to him almost every Tuesday after the show, and he tells me how much he enjoys these segments. He was like last week, he's been trying to use them in the gym in Minnesota in his spare time. So I'm going to check in with him tonight to see if he can get this one down. But again, thank you again, Jamal. So in case you guys didn't realize or weren't aware of what's going on, it's Golden State versus Cleveland, Part 4, starting Thursday.
Goat, man.
You know,
Goat.
we're going to ignore your petty. That's what we're going to do at this moment. But it starts Thursday night. Game was on Thursday. As of right now, no clear-cut answer. People don't expect Kevin Love to be fully cleared from concussion protocol at this moment. We'll see how that changes, so keep an eye on that. So we're gonna openly talk about what to expect in the finals. You know, quick little finals preview since it starts 2 days from now. Octavia, hey, the floor is yours to start off first, man.
Yeah, I mean, of course, talking about Kevin Love not being able to play, and I know they're still trying to figure out if Andre Iguodala is going to play as well, who's been having weird issues with his knee. I think he said he was going to go get a second opinion. So, I mean, those are two big things to look at going forward in the playoffs in the finals, excuse me. And then, of course, like you said, it's Golden State and Cleveland Part 4. First of all, I wanted to say I'm glad. How can I say this? When it became apparent that the Cavs were going to go back, me personally, I would rather see the Warriors play them. I just don't think that the Rockets match up well with them. And I really thought that if they played like LeBron would have walked up to another one.
Yeah.
So at the same time, I'm tired of seeing them play each other too, but it's a dominant series between them. So it's cool with me to see that. But I'm just glad that, because I didn't think Houston would have been able to deal with LeBron. I mean, I'm pretty sure they would have been okay with everybody else, but I don't think they have anybody on their team that can actually face up and play LeBron for 7 games or however long the series goes on. But I'm excited for the season, for the series. I mean, I think Golden State's going to win, of course. I'm not sure how many games. Like I heard before we came out here, it kind of depends on which Golden State team shows up and win. If they come out firing on all cylinders from the beginning, it's going to be a short series in my opinion. Because LeBron can only do but so much, and at this time he's going to have people that he has to play against, and he's going to have people that's going to be guarding him, that's not going to be giving him slack. So yeah, I mean it's a lot of different storylines in the whole series, but I'm excited to see it.
All right, Cardell.
I expect it to be short. The Warriors, like she said, if the Warriors come to play like how they should play. The problem I had with them, that's why for me it's 70-30 as far as Cavs having a chance, is they allow teams to get momentum, and that's dangerous in the NBA, especially against good teams and especially against the best player. And that's how he walked them down with 3-1 before. He's honestly done this his entire career. When he really got to the elite level, he started with Detroit. They kind of approached it the same way, this young boy ain't ready, whatever, and he got momentum, and they couldn't stop him no more. And that's dangerous to give a team confidence. While people want to kill his supporting cast, he still has championship members, multiple, that been there and done that played against these Warriors, that understand this moment and stuff like that. So, I expect them to be ready. And honestly, let's be for real. JR and Corver and those guys are hitting shots. It's gonna be a different series. So the only difference is now with LeBron, instead of like going up against, let's say Jason Tatum or Marcus Morris mostly was guarding him, he got to deal with KD. And, he has to deal with him on the other end. He has to defend all the time, and that's where the problem lies right there. Whereas he can't help. He help is over. Steph is the way he's playing it is crazy, and I honestly, for me, the X factor for that team, especially in the last years, has been Klay Thompson. He's elevated his game. I think he's leading the team with 42% in the playoffs. And with his defense and stuff like that, like I said, with JR and Korver, if they don't get off, it's a wrap. And and this is where Draymond, he's having decent all around games, but scoring wise, he's not there. But the Warriors' weakness is their bench. A couple guys getting foul trouble, it could switch the whole series. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's funny. You got to give the Cavs a chance, especially LeBron. You got to give him a game out of respect for what he can do. He can easily go off and drop 50 in a triple-double or something, just be crazy and get that game. But, like I said, if the Warriors come to play, they play the defense they're supposed to play. Don't turn the ball over, take smart shots, take their shots. I'm going to say take their shots, not smart shots. Take their shots. Yeah, it should be a short series.
Yeah, I think for me, is with LeBron, like, it's great to watch him, continue to improve, especially in this year. And my biggest worry just going forward, it was great to see Jeff Green take advantage of the opportunity given by Kevin Love's injury.
Right.
And the other thing with Jeff Green, it kind of pointed out, that kind of stood out to me, was outside of LeBron, the only one on Cleveland that could kind of get their own shot a little bit, maybe Jeff Green, and that's kind of what bothers me a little bit going into this series, in terms of someone who can create something for themselves. And then for the Warriors, as ugly as this series was, I think it was something this version of this team needed to go through, because I know people don't care because, when, the rich get richer or whatever, and Katie and all that, this team still doesn't fully, I think they need to go through this to get to the next step of becoming a team under the KD version of this team, because there was definitely places where you could tell the trust wasn't all the way there, and some of that's just because this dude hasn't been around 3-4 years. Like, the way that they normally do stuff, to trust things, the way that, Steph, Clay, and Dre, that trust, or even with Iggy, that's apparent. It wasn't always apparent at times with Kev, because it's still kind of a new situation for them at times. What happened last year, no disrespect to Cleveland, you played a team where they didn't bother you defensively how the Rockets did this series. They kind of threw stuff at them a little bit, and it messed with their rhythm a little bit. And you heard Kevin talking last night that it got him just thinking too much. And I give the Rockets credit for that at times. Like, they disrupted their rhythm a little bit. And the other thing I liked was Jordan Bell getting minutes on this stage. We saw it a couple years ago with Pat McCaw. Some people were wondering why Pat was playing. And those kids, those minutes are priceless, especially going forward. You're going into a series now which is a little bit different. Clint Capella and PJ Tucker were the only ones to really hit the glass like that on Houston. In Cleveland, you got Bron, and then almost everybody. You got Tristan, you got K-Love when he's there. Jeff Green's another big athletic body, hit the glass. The Warriors going to have to lean on those kids a little bit, especially as you talk about their bench not being as potent as it's been in the past. And considering Iguodala's injury, I wouldn't be surprised if we see McCall play a little bit more, but not too much, because he doesn't have wind, period.
I think he's gonna lean on Sean Livingston more, and I kind of felt he should have did that when
earlier
he went
in that
out.
series.
Yeah, and people gotta give the Rockets credit. It wasn't nothing KD was doing. It was the pressure that the Rockets were applying. The reason why he didn't shoot good a couple of those games, Ariza was up in this. Give him credit, man. But I don't know what's up with today. People can't give people props,
they
man.
did a good job defensively.
No, it wasn't they. Ariza. KD.
I was just talking about period. Like, they weren't horrible defensively the entire series. Like, they.
Come on, man. If it was
easy,
to
Golden State,
come on, dog. If it was easy for KD to give him 50 and get him up out of there, he would have did it. Like,
they wouldn't have waited till game 7.
Exactly. It's them, and then their style and the barrage of threes, especially when they hitting that pace. That in itself is a different type of pressure, because when you feel that wave coming, it's similar what the Warriors do to people. When the points come at barrage, if you're not mentally strong, you're gonna go to what you know, and that's like, I gotta get back. I gotta get back offensively and all that, and that's what they want you to do. You're gonna take quick bad shots, and then they're gonna feed their turn up and feed their fast break. They like, let's go, and then they out on the break, hit more threes. Next thing you know, you down 30. You like, man. And that's why you gotta stay disciplined. And Draymond spoke on it last night. He was like, in Game 7, we had a terrible start. They had a good start. He was like, the whole team understood. Just be patient. They're gonna tire out, especially James. They're gonna get tired out, and those threes they're gonna stop falling, and then it's on. And that's what happened in the third. And that third quarter run, we've seen it witnessed live here, man. The Warriors' third quarter run is no joke. Like, their halftime jump, when they come out, I'm like, man, here it comes. Just give it about a good 3 minutes.
I
It's
knew
game over.
I knew. I wasn't even worried in the first half. I was
like that pass, Steph came down through to Jordan Bell. All that thing, Jordan Bell went between his legs, just stood there for the pick, and Steph hit the three. I'm like, oh, it's a wrap, man. Like, when they get to going like that, that's when it's just like.
And then the other part of it was that was kind of the first time we seen in the postseason where all three shooters were kind of clicking at the same time in that third quarter, which was annoying because that was Steph's quarter, obviously. KD had a couple ignorant threes in that quarter as well, in the middle of that barrage.
The fourth was him.
No, the fourth was okay if Steph started all that in the third. But I'm saying quietly, like even in Steph's quarter, KD had a quiet 10 in that quarter. Those two had 24. I like the 35 points they had in that quarter. 33, 35, I can't remember the number specifically. But it's just crazy because when they get going, it's hard to outshoot those guys. It's just hard.
You can't.
It's just hard.
That's why that's why the Warriors' weakness is themselves.
Yes.
If they get up and get complacent, get cocky and stuff like that, they can beat themselves, play sloppy, and if they do, LeBron's smart enough and he's a vet, he's not gonna get rattled. He'll take them out, and if you get that team confidence, that's when it could become a series, and then they'll be in trouble. Like it almost happened this series.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and that's the other thing. You got to give Houston credit for the pressure they put on Golden State the entire series.
Right.
Because they're not used to dealing with the type of runs, the stuff they do to other people. They're not used to dealing with.
Yeah, not on a
and that's
consistent
basically
basis.
what it was. They faced themselves.
They saw a version
way.
of themselves, and it wasn't fun to deal with. Yeah. And kudos to Eric Gordon that whole series. He was a maniac, and I feel like people weren't giving him enough credit.
PJ Tucker.
Yeah. Oh, Tucker, and both of
Tucker
those
down there with 3 dudes on him, grabbing the offensive ball.
15 rebound games.
But
take my hats off to him.
But for the Cavs, watch Kyle Korver. Because I think he leading the playoffs. He shooting 44% from 3, 94% from the line.
Off and let them things fly.
They need him though.
If he saw hitting, that's gonna open things up bad. So they need to watch him. But I think Clay, one of those guys got him.
And I think that's my biggest part going into this year versus last year with Kyrie is who's the other person that can break down that defense. And that's just going to be tough for them. With Houston, they had multiple guards that could beat somebody off the dribble, get in the paint, start trouble to kick out to the corners. On Cleveland, someone else has to be able to break down their man.
George Hill.
Someone else has to be able to break down their man.
He got the most experience.
Yeah.
It's George Hill.
It's got to be him.
But the problem is, he got to deal with Steph. That's the problem.
And he can't.
That's the problem.
And that's the tough part because, like, this series with the Rockets, they could kind of try to isolate them at times and put that pressure on them.
Bro,
you can't.
That's
really,
why they're hard to beat.
Yeah.
Because even when Steph go to the bench, you got Sean Livingston, 6'7", coming mid-range, posting you up. And he like, man, everybody got their own issues to deal with. So exactly. That's how I feel. Like,
pick your poison.
But literally, that's perfect how you said. You can't really help. You can't play help the helper because you got your own boatload of issues. When it's kind of like, Cardell, I want to help you, but. And Octavia's like, I want to help you too, but.
And here's the thing that deflates teams, man, and everybody knows, everybody in the world that knows this. You can get up 15-20 on the Warriors, and it feel like a 2-point lead. You just know, it don't take nothing for them.
You're waiting for the inevitable to happen.
Yeah, you working hard, and they'll kill that lead with effort, just boom, 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 boom. You just like, oh my, come on, man. So, I mean, look, it is what it is, man.
But it's going to be fun. And then all the people with the rig stuff, y'all got to let stuff go. You just got to let it go. Nobody made Trevor Ariza shoot 0 for life or Terry Rozier.
Or make the Rockets shoot 3 for 100 for 3.
Instead of just taking twos. Eric Gordon was the only one on the Rockets that had since last night.
Yeah, thank you.
Like, literally the only person.
But it literally was like nobody else got the memo because it was just like, nah, we just going to keep shooting.
Did you see Rod Strickland's tweet?
Yeah, of course.
That was the greatest tweet last night.
He's been saying that the whole season, man. You cannot just
6 twos, and that game's different.
I seen the Rockets literally give up a wide open layup to try to shoot a 3. I'm like, man, y'all tripping.
Meanwhile, the team you're playing, while everybody talks about Golden State and their propensity to shoot threes, they take mid-range shots. They also take layups. They convert at all 3 levels. You know what I'm saying? They take what's there.
But it comes back to the thing I was talking about, pressure. Just like the pressure got to the Warriors at times, that same pressure got to the Rockets. But the difference is the Warriors have experience with dealing with it. They don't. And I don't want to hear these excuses about the refs and all that. People saying the game was rigged. They wanted the Warriors to get them. Man, get out of here. The refs, they couldn't help Steph and Clay and KD hit those tough shots. You know what I'm saying? And the refs dang sure ain't forced the Rockets to jack up 100 threes and they missed like 50 in a row. Like, come on, man, that was just bad basketball. You gotta switch it up. When you're not hitting jumpers, you gotta find a way to get easy baskets.
Yep. So that's going to be the fun part in this series going forward, to seeing if Cleveland will try to find a way to put the type of pressure needed to kind of, just to bother Golden State if they can. All right, so before we get out of here, our last segment, I got DC United update, but we're going to wait till after this. Our draft series has continued. Cardell, you want to go first this week? You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
You want me to go first? All right, so my player for this week, again, this is like the Wizards draft series, just players we feel that could be among the group should they select them, or players that may be available when they pick. Again, they have the 15th overall pick. My guy this week, I'm going with the wing, Chandler Hutchinson out of Boise State. I flip-flopped on a person I was going to choose like 50 times a day within 15 minutes. So I settled on Chandler Hutchinson, 6'7", 193 wing. Averaged 20 points per game this year, 7.7 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 1.5 steals, and he shot 35.9%, let's say 36% from three. All right, so the pros, he got better every year he was in college. So again, this is a senior. He handled a lot of the ball handling duties in his offense. Initiated some side pick and rolls. Not to say he's great at it, just that he had some experience doing it. He also, he finished at the rim pretty well. He can finish with either hand at the rim, most of which were all straight line drives, or sometimes getting the paint, just being savvy, pump fakes, step through, simple things of that nature. The other thing, he put a lot of work. He overhauled the shooting form, which definitely paid off dividends in his senior year. Mentioned shooting 36 from three. And I mean, that's pretty much what lastly, he guarded his position well. So he guarded other wings well. All right, so the cons, he struggles shooting off the dribble. So that's not a guy you want to give the ball to and tell him to go to work at this point in his career. He's not quite there. We talked about his defense in terms of, like, he was able to at least guard his own position. We don't know, because he wasn't asked to, if he can switch on to smaller players. This is not to say that he can't. It's just to say at this moment, we do not know so, because we haven't seen examples of that, in his senior year. Some of the things that he had issues with, sometimes he would force the issue driving the ball, get caught too deep. Sometimes, guards have that issue as well. But sometimes he just get a little too deep in the lane, and then, you're throwing turnovers at that point. You're throwing nothing but interceptions, not good passes. And even though he initiated some of the ball handling, he carried some load of the ball handling at Boise State. This is going to the NBA level as a wing. He needs to improve his ball handling. So this bottom line, we talk about all the time with the coaching staff the Wizards have. It's something to work with. It's another wing that you have. Wing depth is an area of concern, so that's why I chose Chandler Hutchinson this week. Cardell?
All right, for me, I had Aaron Holiday out of UCLA. Yeah. He actually just came to D.C. to work out for the Wizards, and off record, talked to certain people. They raved about his workout. The Wizards take pride in having one of the tougher draft workouts. They love to break you down to see how tough you are. They want to make you quit. And he not only did he not quit, he shined. He was still going strong even at the very end. He didn't skip. He didn't cut any corners doing the drills. He finished everything. They was raving about him, and I know that woke a lot of people up. Now, for people that may not know, he's the younger brother of Drew and Justin Holiday. He definitely got a little bit of his brother Drew in him. You can see it when he plays with UCLA, the way he gets after it on both ends. But he's a better shooter than his brother. He's not as big. He's 6'1". He's a prototypical point guard. But, he could shoot better than his brother at UCLA last year. He averaged 20 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds a game on 46% shooting from the field, 42% shooting from three, and 82% shooting from the line. The thing I like about him, he's a scoring point guard, but he can facilitate. And he has all what I call a little man bag of tricks, runners, floaters, and stuff like that. Instead of guys that need straight lines to make layups and stuff, he can shoot runners off one leg, fadeaways, all that. I mean, one clip I saw, he shot a runner against USC like 15 feet over a couple 7-footers, whatnot, and that was impressive. You normally don't see that. You normally see him kind of get closer to the basket and do that. He excels defensively. No surprise there. You saw what Drew could do and stuff like that. And which is surprising because he's not only is he not as big as Drew, but he's not the athlete Drew is, but he's athletic enough to get the job done. Drew's a freak athlete, but he's not that. And that's what kind of a lot of people are saying is holding him back. As a point guard, he don't have the elite first step because it's not about how he looked on the college level. It's comparing to what he's going to have to deal with in the pros. Yeah. And obviously the point guard position, that's the toughest position in the NBA. So, but the thing I like about him is he has that pedigree And I don't think he will be intimidated by any of those point guards because of who he grew up playing against. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, he got one of the better defender, all NBA defensive first team in his house, you know, in his family. So he ain't gonna. It's nothing he's not gonna see playing at the NBA level, which may give him an edge to kind of sneak in that first round. One of the things that is a concern, he struggles scoring against bigger defenders once he gets in the lane. Again, past guys, I don't think he will have no issue with. Is when he go up against, you know, you see them Joel Embiid or Rudy Gobert, guys like that waiting on you. Now, you know, he do struggle with that. But, you know, I think once he get adjusted and stuff like that, he'll be fine. And you know, I love his toughness. Even during the interview and stuff, they was asking some questions about like how you feel you compare in the league, how you think you – man, it was no hesitation. He's like, I feel like I do damage right away. And even they was like, you know, how would you feel with the Wizards? He said, I understand Wall and Bill are in those spots, but I'm coming to compete. You know, basically, my mind said, I'm trying to rough one of them dudes. So, but I like that. You need that. You need it in players with that type of dog. It's too many, you know, as we saw in the playoffs, saw players, we won't say no names, you know, but they got exposed. We don't need that, you know, especially for the Wizards. We can't afford to have that no more.
You need the dogs. You need that mentality.
Yeah, and we saw what happened when teams compete. Indiana competed. They took LeBron to 7 games. Houston competed, took the Warriors to the brink. The Celtics, we seen Jason Tatum going right at the best player neck, dunking on him and everything, screaming in his face. You know, I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? So I like his mentality. You know, and I think if you keep him pressing workout, somebody will take a chance on him late in the first round, if not the Wizards.
Yeah, and the other thing I think that stood out most is got an all-defensive team member in your house. If you can get past your big brother, you're going to be okay. Everybody at that position in the league is not your big brother defensively. These are just facts, especially on the defensive line.
Look, when he did the Dame, I haven't seen nobody get strapped up like that. Like all-star guard get locked up like that in years. Like, I can't even remember the last time, honestly. That was impressive.
I mean, it really was. And that's the type of mentality, that's the biggest thing. And it's one of the things with all the guys we've talked about. That's what that team needs, the influx of that type of mentality. And that's one of the, going back to the top of the show, we talk about the Mystics and their rookies, the dogs. It doesn't matter where it comes from on your team. You need that on your roster.
And that forces the vets to pick it up because they know if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, I'm going to be on the bench. They're going to be like, trade. Get some assets, get some first round picks. We building for the future.
If you got somebody young that's going to compete on both ends, the length of the game. I mean, if you're front office, you're going to start looking at stuff a little bit differently.
I mean, I know this for a fact. It's a young man's game. I remember in Chicago after they won their 5th championship, they tried to trade Scottie Pippen for young Tracy McGrady. Like seriously. And Mike was like, "Yeah, right. Y'all tripping. I'm gone." And Krause had to chill. You know what I'm saying? But I understood what he was trying to do. He was crazy. It was gutsy. I mean, he would end up being right with what happened with Tracy McGrady. But, you know, I understood what he was saying, but they won 6, you know, and that's the payoff, man, you know, so it is what it is.
All right, folks, so to close out this one, DC United, they spent the last 10 days on the road. They beat San Jose 3-1. Luciano Costa with 2 assists in that one. They got goals from Zoltan Steiber, Darren Maddox, and Yamil Assad. Then on Saturday in LA, took on LAFC. Went down early thanks to a late goal from Darren Maddox on a beautiful assist by Paul Arriola. Paul Arriola is like literally a few inches taller than me. This guy climbed the ladder in the box, got his head on a ball, played it back to the near post, and Darren Maddox finished. He beat the keeper with the header of his own. It was a really pretty goal, and it was just a gutsy effort by a team that's trying to get their legs underneath them. And then at this point in the season, just want to give credit to Darren Maddox. You know, everyone's talking about the type of forward that DC United does need, and I'm not going to knock any team for making an upgrade by any means, but want to give the guy credit for what he's done so far. He has 5 goals on the year. You know, he's done what's been asked of him, even if it's not done in maybe the most pretty or the best stylistic way to watch it. The guy has 5 goals. And credit to Luciano Acosta, Lucho, with 5 assists on the year, and Paul Arriola getting in on that action as well. That assist to Maddox in that game gave him his 4th of the year. They come home. They're back home now, got a couple days off. This is a bye week, and the next week they're right back out on the road. And then, you know, we'll see them on a more frequent basis, and you'll hear about them a lot more come July 14th. That's their home opener. In Audi Field, and they play 15 of the remaining 20 games of the season at home.
That's good.
Man, not a bad time to have home field advantage. You know, especially
Close
going down
to
the
the
stretch.
end, yeah.
So I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. As always, get over to findersbag.com. I'm on sports.com.
Ain't Golden State got home court?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oracle, sir.
And real quick before we leave, just shout out to the Caps though. Caps are in the Stanley Cup. Stanley Cup Finals right now. They lost on Monday 6-4.
Yep.
They play again Wednesday night 8 p.m. Tune in. It's been a really good. I mean, to be honest, Vegas team looks amazing. Like they, because I don't only watch hockey in the playoffs. Me personally. And I haven't really got to see Vegas like that until recently. And they look amazing. Like, I mean, clicking on all cylinders. It was a great game. They got outshot at the last second, the last goal. It really was 4-4. They kept it close the entire game. It was really 4-4 for most of the game. And then, I can't remember his name, but somebody on Vegas scored. We made it 5-4, and then it was about 2 minutes left, and they went empty net, and they got a breakaway. So that's how it ended up being 6-4. But it was a really good game, and plan on watching again on Wednesday.
Got to. Caps, you got to go ahead and put this one out.
They
don't want to be
here.
the team, the last team to lose on the expansion team in their rookie in this opening season. Yeah. Like, you're going to be the last team remembered in what essentially is a Disney story.
Like, it's only been 20 years since y'all been here, guys.
And it could be 2 championships coming this year. I'm just
could be.
Throw that
Hey,
out
look, I'm just saying it could be. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning into The Focus.
all right.